My name is Sara Melson, and I've been going to the journey for 4 years. I grew up in church all my life since I was young, and my faith has been shaken a time or two, been veered off the path, but God never left me, and I would like to share my story with you guys. As a child, my biological dad was an alcoholic, and my mom left him when I was very young. I think I was like 1 or something like that. My mom remarried to my stepfather, whose name is Randy. And I would still see my dad off and on. As a child, we would go spend the weekends with him, me and my brother. And when I was around 7, I believe, we were sitting on the front porch waiting for Dad to come pick us up, and saw a bunch of cars go by. Even played this guessing game of which color car would come next, but we never saw his car. So my mom came outside, it was dark, and told us to come in and that he wasn't coming. And he told her that he did not want to see us anymore. So that crushed me as a child. Didn't know why my dad didn't want me. But I prayed for him all the time as a kid. Like I said, I was very involved in church. I actually went to a Pentecostal church growing up. So I just, prayed for Dad and prayed that one day he would come back. In the meantime, with my stepdad, Randy, he was involved, and he ran the children's ministry at church. So we were very involved with church growing up. At the age of 12 or 13, my father did call my mom and decided he wanted to see us again, me and my brother. I was very happy, felt like it was an answered prayer. So he came back into my life, but he still was an alcoholic, so it was a struggle, just trying to build that relationship with him. And I never really found an appropriate father figure for my life. My stepdad was a very troubled man as well. He sexually abused me as a child and abused my brother, physically abused him as well. My mom worked a lot, she owned her own business, so she knew of some things, but most things she did not know at the time because she was gone. How that all came about, my stepsister was away at college, and she came to visit us kids, took us out for lunch. We went to Houston Woods, actually. We were out on the beach hanging out, and us kids are just talking about how things are at home, and we're just, at the time it was innocent, and we were just talking about all the weird stuff that Randy would do. We're kids, we don't know. And my sister was immediately concerned, and she had made the decision at the time, I did not know, but she made the decision to call Children's Services on her own father. And I love my sister. Sorry. I'm so glad that my sister is also a Christian, and that she was able to have the strength to do that, because doing that to your own father is just, I can't imagine what she had to go through, the conflict she had to go through to do that. We could not be around him. The police took us to my grandparents' house, me and my brother, until my mom could come up with arrangements for us children. So then, from there on out, it was just me and my brother and my mom. We got an apartment for a little bit, and then she bought a house. And then it was time for high school. It was freshman year. And that is where I met my best friend, Molly. At the time, me and my mom started fighting a lot at home. She was gone all the time. I didn't really know why, but she was gone a lot. I mean, she still had her own business, so a lot of that was going on, but you know, I was left at home a lot, and I was going through a lot of just normal teenage things, but you know, dealing with my past, I had a lot of depression and anxiety, and I didn't quite get the help that I needed. And so we started fighting a lot, and one day the fight got really bad because I had found out that my mother was still with my stepfather, Randy. Still married to him, and that's who she was seeing when she was not at home with me. And that hit hard for me because I didn't understand why she would still be with somebody who hurt her children so much. So once I found that out, we had fought so bad. And one day the fight had gotten physical. She had me pushed up against the wall. I told her that I had to leave. I could not be there anymore. I ran upstairs, packed a bag, and I called Molly because I didn't know who else to call. She was my best friend. It was late at night, and I was waiting outside by the street, and Ted and Molly had picked me up and took care of me and helped me get through things, showed me, you know, compassion and love, and lived with them off and on throughout my whole high school years. Still tried to reconnect with my mother, but I had a hard time forgiving Randy. Even though my mom said he had changed, you know, through therapy and all that, I just had a hard time with forgiveness. It's been my main struggle. And graduated high school, which was great. So Jill and Ted were always there for me. Ted was a pastor, if you guys probably knew that, especially if you heard their story whenever Pastor Sean did the forgiveness campaign back when we were at the YMCA. So they were going through a very, very tough thing in their family. Jill and Ted they were going through some things. And unfortunately, I just graduated high school. Molly at the time had just graduated, and they needed to move. A lot of things were happening with them, and they had helped me as much as they could, if not more, and I'm so grateful for that. But I had to figure things out on my own and be on my own. And there was a few nights I did have to sleep in my car until I reconnected with my aunt. My aunt was also somebody who struggled a lot with drug abuse, things like that. But I found a family member that would take me in, and it was a 1-bedroom house, and I slept on the couch or on the floor, wherever I could just sleep until I could save up my paychecks to get my own place. And I did. And during that time, I had definitely stayed in touch with the Heralds, and I seen moms, I say mom, talking about Jill, because she is my mama. I see mom's amazing faith for the Lord and forgiveness, and she's just such a godly woman, and she really showed me that I could forgive my stepdad and my mom. She told me that she showed me that I can forgive. And I decided to forgive my stepdad and my mother. And I knew that if I was ever going to have my mom back in my life, my biological mom, that I would have to forgive him. And I decided to forgive him. Took a long time, but I did it. And I'm happy to say that we do have a relationship nowadays. And he is a changed man. Thank the Lord. But things still trigger me sometimes. And I just turn to God and he helps me through it. And in more recent times, my faith has been shaken. My grandfather, my step-grandfather, this would be Randy's father, he just recently passed about a month and a half ago. And he molested me as a child around the same time that Randy was sexually abusing me. And I never told anybody. I think that when I got separated from Randy, I was hoping that that side of the family would just be gone. But that did not happen. And by the time I decided to forgive Randy, it had just been too long. And this secret, honestly, was going to stick with me to the grave. It was. But mind you, I had forgiven him, my grandfather. I did forgive him, same time I forgave Randy. But nobody knew. And I went to his funeral about a month ago, and I lost it. I just lost it. I looked down at him and I was sad, but I was so relieved that my abuser was gone. And that relief made me feel so guilty as a Christian. How could I feel that, I had forgiven him, and why was I feeling that? And then I realized that I had to forgive myself, because it's okay to feel the things that I felt. And God wanted me to forgive myself. And I did. It's still very fresh, so that's why I'm really emotional about it. But it just goes to show that, through all the hardships and any story that anybody has and anything they go through, that God will make a way to show up. And you just have to turn to him in all ways. And now I'm so blessed with a beautiful family, my 2 girls, and my husband that is amazing. And I'm very involved in the church, and I love to help out, and I'm a teacher, and I love to serve the children and be their advocate, because part of that was, nobody was that for me. And God put me through things so that way I could learn and conquer it all through him and share that story with others.